Hi, I'm Zia, and you're watching The Truth and the Church Girl.
You came to give me life abundantly.
What do you get when 7 awesome young ladies from various walks of life get together for some girl talk? Well, you will certainly get transparency.
I am the friend expertise. I don't play that.
Some candidness.
We do not date. Christian women do not date. That's of the world. You
I've
are
never
in a
heard
courtship.
Laughter indeed. Some crying. Fierceness.
I told you.
Yeah.
Right. I don't even have to say I told you because you know I told you.
Right.
Several questions.
I got lots of questions, you know. I don't have a whole lot of answers, but I have a lot of questions, okay?
And identical experiences. Oh yes, while we may not have all known each other at first, we soon discovered how deep the idea of sister girlfriend can go. No topic was off limits, and while we had different experiences to share with each other, the commonality amongst us were our mugs we sipped our beverages in, and the fact that although we're not perfect, we serve a perfect God who we experience through all that we go through. Get ready for this no-holds-bar episode of The Truth in the Church Girl. She talks.
Lamar Odom.
I think prayer. I think he's out of the coma. Prayer. I think a lot of people are sending prayer for him, and a lot of people are talking about us as African American people. We don't acknowledge mental illness.
You know what? Fame has a lot to do with it because I feel like you could be so high in the media and you could get so caught up in it that when they leave you, you don't know what to do with yourself.
You don't think the Kardashians has anything
That's what
to
I
do
was
with
saying.
his?
If you mess with the Kardashians, you never come back.
No,
I don't think so. I think he had that problem before.
exactly.
Probably.
But they
I
heightened
really
it.
do, and then they hid it.
People post things on social media, and they're very insensitive to the fact that he's a human being.
Of course.
And the only difference to me is that one group lives in a glass house with the media all in their business, and some people have their skeletons in closets.
I mean, he was in a brothel.
He was.
And people who have sex problems, people who find different outlets, is to avoid what's going on spiritually inside of them.
Right.
And they
when
want
they
to
have a divorce, him and his wife is they're in the middle
his
of
father,
a
like
His
most of
father
us.
is a recovering drug addict.
So you have the generational curse of that demon following on, and it's never being dealt with.
Yep.
And it's like you're covering up with your fame. You're covering up with buying nice stuff.
It's unfortunate sometimes when you're going through something like this, you know, hey, when you're broke, hey, maybe you're inside and you're just hanging out. Unfortunately, when you're this confused and you have money at your disposal, it gets you into a whole lot of problems.
And more people are aware of what's going on, as opposed to your neighbor who doesn't have the fame and the person. You don't have to.
But you know what? Not even talking about Lamar Odom, but what about women and men in the church today? They're going through the same things, just that it's not publicized. You know, a lot of people are numbing themselves by having sex, going out there, drinking, doing so many things because they're hurting in a world that we are right now. So, I mean, Lamar Odom is just shedding light on those who are out there that has the same type of issues, but they're just not publicized, you know?
They're not in that glass house.
Yeah, I think it's all about being healthy. I think that's what I want to be. I want to be healthy.
I have accepted that I was meant to be a big woman. I wasn't meant to be size 6. I wasn't meant to be 8 anymore either, because I'm just not gonna diet anymore. I will try my best to eat healthy. I watch my portions. But life is short, and when I see that chocolate sitting there, I am going to have some of it. I'm not going to eat everything I want anymore in one sitting. I'm gonna, give myself some room. But I have accepted me and eat, and as hey, I work out, I try to eat healthy and whatever. But as I grow, I'm going to accept it. It wasn't meant. The skinny wasn't meant to be. We're big women, got big arms, and I'm gonna be happy. I love food.
I love food too. I've never ever been on a diet. Sorry.
God bless you.
Right, but I do feel like I do need to start picking up healthy eating habits.
You know, my mom has diabetes, and it's really like taking over her life, like, you know, messing with her eyesight, doing this. And I'm just thinking that it was because she wasn't really, you know, really watching anything. You know, she's West Indian. She's like, I'm going to yum anything I want. Yum, this, that. She just eat everything. She don't care. But right now, she's suffering from it. So I don't want the same things to, you know, happen to me.
Like, what I eat is so much the problem. I just think that being consistent with going to the gym, I've incorporated walking. I would like to change, though, is my stomach. But I don't go to the gym, so pray for me.
But even when you're dealing with weight loss, you don't deal with the scale. You deal with how your clothes are fitting you, because your clothes are fit better than the scale. The scale is crazy, yeah. And if you gain muscle, it's gonna say you gain more weight. So
I was recently just made some changes in my life. I've lost 25 pounds. And I won't say I was necessarily, because I've always been thick, so to speak, but I wouldn't necessarily say I felt good in my skin, because, you know, it was a little excess here, there, whatever. But it was for health reasons. I feel like you should be comfortable in your skin as long as you don't have any health issues. And I didn't have any health issues for a long time until blood pressure. So I had to make some changes in my diet and in my activity. Activity is very important with health and wellness.
You know, same thing with Michelle. I'm not saying like I accept what, you know, I don't want to be huge, because I think with me, when I say I accept it, I'm just going to say, you know what, let my belt loose and kick off. But I want to be able to just be healthy and feel comfortable in my own skin. And if that means that I may have to go to the gym a few times, I will. And get a trainer. and actually,
you all are beautiful, right? We all are beautiful. We just gotta love ourselves and embrace ourselves and forget what the world is trying to tell us what we ought to look like. Because some folks will say we obese with the weights that we are.
That was my issue. I don't really like to talk about weight. Okay. Because I struggle with that. I've always been on the thicker side. And I don't necessarily like it. They always tell me something is wrong with me. I'm always in the mirror like, oh, I'm too big. So I'm just learning to try to be comfortable with who I am or where I am. I've gotten to the point where I've gotten really, really skinny, like neck, and then I've gotten bigger. So I'm always dabbling with the diets, the cleanses, and all that, just because I don't know if I want to fit into society. What's the ideal woman? What's the perfect? What you know? How should a woman look? So right now I'm at a place where I'm just, like you said, portion control. Like, you know what? I may not be a 4 or a 5, but I'm okay. And I do need to keep my weight down because I'm asthmatic. So I do try for that, but weight gets me depressed. I've cried over it.
We do get into relationships thinking we can change people, and that's so far from the truth. So many experiences, right? I mean, that I've had where it's like, get into a relationship, it's just like, well, he's like that now, but he won't be later on, and it's just like, it's worse, because now you up close and personal, and now it's 10 times worse, depending on what he's doing or what he's not doing. It's horrible.
We tend to fall in love with the potential. Like, he's not like this right now, but let me give him a couple of years. Let me give him a month, and this is what's going to happen. So we fall in love in what he's going to become. And chances are, 9 out of 10 times, they never become that.
He really does.
And you become unhappy in the situation. You're stuck. And so maybe that's...
But you know what happens? Women, we evolve, and men are pretty much, they say the same.
Some men.
I don't agree with that.
What don't you agree with?
I'm speaking from a marriage perspective.
Right.
And the wife is the helpmate. So your job is to help your husband meet certain obligations. So when you say that the woman evolves and the man doesn't, then part of that lack of evolution that has not taken place in his life might partially be on the wife. We should be pushing our husbands to become more. we were put here after them to help them.
How much do we help them?
You don't do the stuff for them. You help them to get things done.
I'm willing to work with him, get him, work with him to get him to college, but some women possibly don't want to do that work, so you shouldn't even marry that person.
What would you work with? Like if a dude lives with his mama, would you work with that? If a dude is not educated, would you work with that?
He's living at home, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's
Anything,
bad.
maybe saving.
And at the end of the day, this is New York City.
It's
When I met my husband, he lived with his mother, and I had my own apartment. And on paper, it looked like I was saying more than what he was, but he was living with his mother not because he had to, but because he had certain plans that he wanted to take care of. If I move out of my mother's house, it's because I'm moving into a house.
There's really just not enough conversation in the dating stage. Like everybody is acting. You know,
The representative
there's
is
all
there,
this
right.
acting going on. So there's really not conversation about the non-romantic side of marriage. The whole, how you deal with issues, your finances, the finances is a big part of it. So, sometimes the whole romantic side of it is what, that's like the small part. But yeah, there's not enough conversation. Maybe you don't want the surprise after you're married. Maybe you should look at that credit report before you walk. Because not to say that you can't get together with somebody with bad credit. It's to open mind, be transparent as to what you're walking into.
Because church folks can hide behind the church and not let you know what the real deal is. And that's why I say, single people, if you're dating somebody, you need to ask 1,000 questions during the dating process. You need to ask some questions. Y'all need to sit down and go on a whole lot of dates. What's your name? Is that your real name? Do you have your daddy's name? When can I meet your daddy? Is your dad and mama together? How do you act when you get mad? Do you throw things? Do you cuss around? Do you beat up on people? I need to know, do you have a job? Where do you work at? How much money do you make? How long you been working there? Do you have a bank account? How is your credit? Can I see your credit score? Do you have a house? Are you living in an apartment? Do you pay for your gas in your car? Do you live with your mama now? I need to understand what you're doing, what you like to eat. Do you plan on being fine like that all your life? Or you plan on getting big? How many children do you want to have? Will you get upset if we don't have no kids? You plan on having an inheritance? Do you have insurance? Can you pay for your funeral if you were to die today?
So what about us women though? Sometimes we tend to say we want a man with a car, we want a man with a house, but then we don't have those things. So why would we want a man with these things that we don't have? Why don't you have your house, your car? True, but if you have an expectation for a man, what is your expectation for yourself as a woman?
She asked me the question, would I be okay if my man was a garbage man? And I was like, well, they got good benefits? That's great. She was like, no, at Burger King. And I thought about it, and I stopped, and I just was like, I don't know.
We do spend time looking at the superficial qualities of men. And a lot of times, unfortunately, men view their success. They tie their possessions into their success because of the way that we look. So if we look at them and say, if you don't have the car, you don't have the education, I can't mess with you, then when they get those things, they feel like they're more worthy with those things than they are when they don't have those things.
Should we date
What about prayer?
the guy from Burger King?
He has a job.
He may be a good man.
And he may be working at Burger King at night and maybe
in college.
and maybe in college and working towards his goals. You never know. Wait, before you start that, isn't that women do that because they want to share with their homegirls? My man is a doctor, right? My man is a lawyer. My man works at Burger King.
I'm saying we want a man to fit the the mold that society has created.
At least be a manager at Burger King. I mean, no, something's not right. I'm sorry.
I feel like if we work hard to accomplish certain things, we should have certain standards, and it's okay to live up to those standards. Like, I'm not going to bend for certain things.
At this stage in my life, I couldn't date someone.
No.
Even if what if he works at Burger King, but he also owns it, but you don't know that?
No, why wouldn't he say that?
No, why would he have to tell you? Because maybe he was. And if we're talking about dating,
play no games. I'm too old for that.
But aren't you playing games too? If you're trying to, if somebody works, because there's people who work in a franchise.
Right.
They're in a franchise owners.
Yeah, but they can work in the restaurant. But when we're having the conversation about, well, what do you do? And you tell me, oh, I'm on fries, but you leave out that you own the place. Why would you do that? If you know, I'm being honest with you, and I'm saying, well, I do this and I do that, or whatever the case may be. Now you know somebody working on fries. Like, tell me your potential.
Are you saying that if it was turned around and you were the one taking the trash out at Burger King, you wouldn't want anybody else who doesn't also take out trash to look at you?
I do find that, and I'm not an owner of a franchise, but for what I do, when I begin to tell guys that I potentially might date, they do kind of back off. Mm-hmm. It's intimidating. Yeah. And I don't know how to read that. I don't know if that means...
certain men want to save you, too. So the girl with the high school diploma and the 4 kids and the welfare, they don't get them.
That's right.
That's the thing as well, because I
that makes him feel like a man.
Nothing. I have to pay full time for school, but if I have 4 kids, I can go to school scot-free. So I think that's just a whole general thing.
Okay, so for the married lady, so is that true that men want to save so you can't, if you're in a position where you have a lot going on, they feel like they can't come at you because there's nothing to save?
I don't think it's about making more money. It's about just having the respect to let your husband lead the household in the rightful way that God designed it. So you can make more money. I can make more money than him, and he can make less than me, but I'm not going to carry that over him. I know my position or my role as a wife.
How comfortable are we as single ladies okay, so maybe I shouldn't use the term dumbing down, but maybe not showing all of who we are or not talking about all of who we are. Like, I'm still trying to figure out that balance because...
I'm okay with that. When you said, but that's y'all are married, and I'm not preaching, but the Bible says
Amen.
Let it go.
that he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. That to me is interpreted as you as a woman, as a single woman, should be thinking like a wife, because when the man finds you, he finds the wife. The Bible doesn't say that you get married and become the wife. Right?
So,
romance.
Let's role play, right? For the married folks and in the middle, right? And us single ladies, right? You guys are our dates, right? And so, we sitting down to dinner and, we're asking the question, like, so tell me about yourself, right? What do you as married women think that single women should begin to tell them?
Right? When you get asked that question,
right,
whether you start with I'm the CEO, it's like, that's not necessarily, yeah, that's what you do with this. It's not necessarily who you are.
I think the way that you approach that question might determine whether or not, as you pointed out earlier, if they feel intimidated by your credentials or by your success.
Do Christian women date or do we court? Are we dating or are we in courtship? Because I heard it's worldly to date. But how? It's worldly to date. We've been told that.
We've been told that.
So we're supposed to court. We're not supposed to date.
Is it dating with benefits or dating?
No, dating. We're not supposed to date.
What is this
difference? So the difference. So you're in the school. So you're dating. That means you're trying him on. Like, I don't necessarily like him. Next. I don't necessarily like him. Next. So our courtship is, we're here. We're doing this and we're getting married.
But how do we get to that?
But this is what I'm saying. How do we get there?
God told them that you was gonna be.
That's what we have to wait for. The God told me you're the one. You're the one. So I'm like, we might be waiting forever.
So what does that mean?
He no longer comes out and just puts her in front of you like he did with Mary Jones.
I've gotten a lot of spank for it. Like, we do not date. Christian women do not date. That's of the world. you are in a courtship.
Yeah, I heard that
I
dates are on the calendar.
Yeah.
Nah. Yes, I heard.
We don't.
And I looked at the sister girl.
Let me tell you something about I don't know who said that. It sounds very doctrinal. It sounds like it's very controlling. Like what does that even mean? What does that mean? Because that sounds like them back in the day preachers who tell you're supposed to court, not dating. Then they wound up getting married, and the husband wound up being a beater, or the wife wound up being a cheater, and then they wound up divorced and all that other stuff. I don't know about whether you're supposed to date or court, but I do know you're supposed to get to know somebody.
That's
and whatever you want to call that, call it.
But they basically say the dating game is I'm trying it on to see if he fits. He doesn't fit, I'm on to the next.
But I'm okay with that.
That's okay. But they're just
unless they're assuming that the dating means that you're having sex, so you're constantly dating people.
But they're saying like when you're with somebody, the purpose is to get married, right?
No, but what about a friendship? How do you know if you want to marry somebody?
You could.
That thing has to be stressed.
But that goes back to the question: what role does God play in your dating, in your courting, in your friendships, or? Like, what if there's some people, either whether you're dating, opposite sex or not, what role does God play in your friendships, your relationships?
I think a lot of women are still waiting for a man to come and say, God told me that you're...
I'm not waiting.
A lot of women are still waiting for that.
And I think that's scary.
A lot of women are still waiting. A lot of women are still waiting.
If a man said God told
I might be
me,
like,
I'm like,
he ain't told me
nothing.
And I don't know, wait a minute now.
There's women that wait for that.
There are women that I need to be physically attracted. I'm like, I need to get to know you. Some people are like crucifying it. Like,
really? I've never heard that.
None about what my friends think. I'm
It's
married.
true.
I love my husband. I love him a long time. They couldn't tell me nothing about him. Sorry.
I just think it's important, not too much that my friends are okay with who I'm with. I think I'll feel comfortable if my family and my friends are okay. I don't want to ever be with someone that when I bring my man around or bring him around any of my friends or my family, they're just like.
But where do you draw that line? Where do you draw that line? Because that's their own issue. Like if that person is a good person,
I love you,
but is it like some underlying thing? They know he a cheater or something. That's different. But if that's a good person, are you gonna let that dictate your whole pace the whole time? Because that can't work for me. If you don't like them, I don't care.
When you get married, sometimes the dynamics of your friendships change.
That's true.
So if you have friends dictating who you dating, then you ain't never gonna get married.
That's my concern would be your ability to cleave to your husband. Like you have to be able to leave your family and cleave to this man. And if you're so concerned about the opinions of your family, I think they might be able to sense that. And anybody that they don't like or that has the potential of taking you away from them, they will send that energy that this is not the right person, and you might miss out on the person that God has for you.
But what if your friends know stuff about someone that you're dating? Should they tell them? Should they tell their friend, like, listen, I know about this, and then how should you receive it? Should you reject it? Should you find out?
I think I have other friends that I'm gonna mind my business.
Yeah,
you know what?
I ain't gonna lie.
They're gonna be like, she lying or she want.
I had a predicament where I seen my friends meet on the train with somebody, and it was real closer than close. I mean, the breath was like close. And I told this young lady about it, right? I didn't even tell him I seen him. I was just like, he seen me. But I was like, But in any event, I did let her know, and it wasn't well received. We went out to dinner, her and I, and he just came up. And I'm just like, okay. So they started tag teaming me. She was like, so, she said she seen you here. And he was like, no, she lying. And she really thought that I lied. And so it made me it made me really think now to be cautious on who I tell. But for me, right now, the friendships that I have in my circle, I'm telling everybody. I'm telling on you.
I'm telling him that I'm telling.
Right. Would you want your friends to tell you if they
I want
see
them to
something
tell
shady?
me. But ultimately, it's not going to be their decision. I'm going to, if I decide, well, guys.
How would you want your friend to respond if they tell you something shady and you're still with the guy?
Respect it. Respect it. Because it's still my choice. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what, Z? I saw him. He's a dog. I'm like, okay, let me speak to him. Respect him. But I love him. And you know what? And then be my friend. And then still be my friend. After we break up, after I go to him and he reveals that he was a dog, still be the shoulder that I need for me to cry on. Still be there.
I'm going to evaluate the person that's telling me.
Yeah.
Like, is there
Anyone just cannot tell me
Is
anything
this-
about my husband.
is
For
this
one, I know
validated?
my husband, and I need to know. Okay, I need to evaluate who's telling me something.
I'm sorry.
I would
I'm gonna tell you whatever you decide to do with the information is on you.
Right.
But as a friend, I'm gonna tell you. You
Tell
know,
them and
and
Call me a hater if you want to.
I'm gonna just let you know. Like I'm
Right.
gonna just tell you what it is. Here's a picture. You can
I'm
take it on.
to the
Move it
doctor.
on.
Like, yeah.
I'm with you. I'm gonna tell.
And I be thinking about it, right?
You know, I'm gonna say something, and if I have the opportunity, I don't want this to be a he said, she said. Yeah, like in this day and age, yeah, you could take a picture now. I'm going to tell you, if you evaluate the friendship and you know whether or not I am the type of person who can hurt you. If that's why you feel, then maybe we don't need to be friends.
Right.
But you were my friend, and God forbid something like that was happening to me. I want to know. I'm going to tell you, you make the decision as to whether I'm a good friend or not, but I'm going to sleep well at night because whatever you decide to do, I know that I told you. And I don't even have to say I told you because you know I told you.
Be a good friend if she decides to stay with him. If she decides to leave him, be a better friend.
How do you feel about when you have one set of friends and another set of friends, and those friends becoming friends and then leave you out when they call and do stuff like that?
I am the friend expertise. I don't play that. No, I do not.
That's my friend.
No, my friends are my friends. Your friends are your friends. Don't try to steal my friend. I had a family member who would try to steal my friends. She got them on Instagram. She be atting them at stuff. They be talking. I'm like, I don't like this.
Like, y'all can be friends here, y'all can talk. But when we leave here and y'all want to connect, you go through me, okay? You go through me. I'm the same way. No, I'm the same way.
That's ridiculous.
I don't like
She's
that.
ridiculous.
I'm like,
Maybe
we're both ridiculous.
My
I'm with it.
goal was to bring
To
the
bring
two of
people
you
together.
No, this is
So
my
then you
friend.
guys
This
are
is my
best
friend.
friends going on trips.
No, that's right. I'm not there.
And I'm not there. I feel like, why would
I just feel like don't forget about me. You can be whoever friend, but know that I'm the main friend.
I just think there's people that are friend stealers.
I can be shady sometimes. And when I don't feel like being bothered,
I'm like
we're
that.
gonna meet each other.
Yeah.
Right,
'Cause I exclude myself.
I just want to thank you guys for watching The Truth in the Church Girl. Tonight we had our She Talk, and it was an amazing time with our friends and our family. We just want you guys to continue to pray for us and just tune in to our show.
Kim, get it together.
Because I've been trying to date her brother. He's a trainer, right? So when I need somebody to train me. We're together.